Okay, we're back here on the Luling Eagle Sports broadcast and got our next interview lined up for this morning. And another friend of the Luling Eagle Sports broadcast, he was on with us last year. Of course, when we did the original show from Moss Front Porch, he wasn't on with us then. He had some other obligations at that time, but we did catch him a few days after that. So I was glad that he was able to come on, and glad he's able to come on with us again today. That's going to be Mr. Snoop Daniel. His face looks familiar. It's probably because you've seen him on TV. He's been on Fox 7 Austin. He comes on a segment. I'll let him talk about that here in a little bit. And then also he's a big part of what's called a Flex ATX. That's FLX ATX there in Austin. And I'll let him talk a little bit more about that as well. So Snoop, welcome back to the Luling Eagle Sports broadcast. How you doing, man?
Eric, I'm doing good. I got my horns up. We're less than 30 days away. Season's fast approaching, high school, college, NFL. Cowboys didn't look good the other night, but football.
Yes, sir. No, they didn't. I'm actually, I don't know if I've ever told you, I'm actually more of a Texans fan, but don't hold that against me. I hope you don't. Anyway,
no, it's okay.
It's going to be kind of a struggle for us this year, I think, to say the least. So for various reasons. So anyway, Snoop, I wanted to have you back on. First of all, talk a little bit about your FLX ATX, and then I know when we visited last year, you mentioned how FLX ATX kind of got off the ground, and the support you had from the folks at the Horn, Aaron Hogan and Elise Hudson and those folks, and kind of talk about where, since this time last year, where the Flex ATX has gone and where you might be looking to go here into the future.
Well, I want to say this time last year, we might have had like 200 followers, but fast forward to today, we're pushing 16,000.
Oh, wow.
I got to say it was a scary transition moving from fan stand to flex, but it's been one of the best things that ever happened in my life, especially working here at the Horn, working next to Craig Way 5 days a week when he's not on vacation, and just the opportunities that have come from it are things that I couldn't have really imagined. I'm just a hard worker, and so, but to be lucky or blessed, whatever you want to call it, to be in this circle now, just kind of, I don't know. I'm just, I'm so humbled by it, and almost scared. I really don't talk about it much because it's been, going good, and you don't want to jinx it or.
I got some wood right here for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Never mind. I was going to make a joke. Now I'm not going to make.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it's so good to hear that, how much it's grown. It's just amazing how sometimes you just do something, and just like with us, with same thing here with the Luling Eagle Sports broadcast, we just, something happens out of the blue. Like for us, it was Emilio Sarge Juarez, who's a friend of the gentleman that does, and you can help me with his name. He does the trying to think. It's let me think a minute, Steve. I know I can think of his name, but he's Rodney. I think it's Rodney.
Rodney Rodriguez.
No, not Rodney Rodriguez. Because I did just have him on a little earlier, but
he's gonna be here in like an hour.
Yeah, I know. I had him on earlier, so I was glad to have him on. But I'll think of it here in a minute. But it's Recon Athlete.
Paul Rodriguez.
Paul Rodriguez. Hey, thank you, Snoop, for helping me with that. Yeah. So anyway, I know that Snoop is gonna, Sarge, we call him Emilio Sarge Juarez. He's the one that got us started here. He's from Lockhart, and he knows Paul Rodriguez very well from Recon Alley. Matter of fact, that's one of his title. I think it is his only title sponsor there with the Alliance Pride Sports broadcast. It's called. So it's just funny, like you said, Snoop. Somebody just jumps in. And in our case, it was the Sarge, we call him, and he says, "Okay, well, do y'all have any broadcast outfit here in Luling?" Well, no, we don't have anything like that. We're too small. We're a 3A school. We're 5,000 people. We don't have anything like that. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, well, the next question is, do you want to start one? It's like, oh, well, wait a minute. That's a different question here. So, and then just one thing led to another. I reached out to the administration here and, posed it to them and said, hey, do we want to start something like this? Support the kids, support the athletes that are in these different sports and these different communities. And it's like, yeah, let's do it. It's be good for us, good for the kids, going forward, and not only just in their high school years, but in later life. And like I said, here we are, and then same thing there with the FLX or Flex ATX. Let me say, it's actually FLX ATX.
Kids call it FLX so too. So I just
right. So exactly,
or what they call you, you can name yourself, but whatever people call you is what you know.
Exactly, Snoop. So, but as long as they know, and so, like I said, it's just amazing how things just change and they grow, so fast, especially in this day of social media, and then having to deal with a lot of social media because of COVID. We all know, the COVID that we also dread. So I did want to ask you, I know you do a lot of covering a lot of teams there in and around Austin. Can you talk a little bit? I know you talked a little bit about it this week on the Horn. Some of the places you've been so far already in this first week or so of football practice, and then maybe some places you may be planning on going here in the next week or two.
Yeah, for folks that don't know, if you don't do a spring camp, in other words, if you don't do football practice in pads back in like April or May, you were allowed to come back last week and get a full week start over everyone else. And I didn't go to every school, but I tried to do as many as I could. I did at least one a day. And actually Monday, the first official day, it was torrential downpour across Central Texas and a lot of lightning delays, and kids couldn't even really get out and practice. But
yes, sir. We had that here too.
Yes. Hayes, Bowie, Hendrickson, Pflugerville, Manor, Crockett, LBJ. So 7 schools in 5 days. Yes.
Wow. And like I said, I mentioned a while ago, I did have Rodney Rodriguez on since you brought his name up earlier. And I know we talked a little about, he was telling me some of the stuff that the Horn has planned about some of the high school events that they are going to be broadcasting this year. And I don't know if you can add to that any, but I know he had mentioned that all the Round Rock schools are going to be covered. And then I think there was something else he mentioned, but if you could speak a little bit to that, like maybe some of the high school coverage that the Horn's going to have. And I know you had me on last year when I went to the opening game for Gonzales because it happened to be that our game against Columbus got canceled due to COVID. So I was able to provide you those updates there. But now, can you speak a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, once again, similar to last year, the Austin Radio Network or Genuine Austin Radio. We have like 2 different company names, but the Lake Travis Cavaliers, which are always an annual threat to win a state championship, will be a 104.9 The Horn. We'll have the Vandergrift Vipers, who went to the state 6A quarterfinals last year for the first time in their history. And Vandergrift is really, I believe, just a notch below Lake Travis and Westlake annually. They went undefeated back-to-back years a couple years ago. They'll be on 101.9 FM, and then the Bowie Bulldogs, which missed the playoffs for the first time in 16 years last year, but they have a Division I bound quarterback in Diego Tello. I think they're a sleeper team. They'll be on 105.3 The Bat. So we have those 3 inside of our building. And then Rick Epstein with IHS Fan has his conglomerate of teams, which includes, Austin High, Anderson, and several other schools. So underneath, I think it's ABC Home and Commercial Services, Texas High School Football Network is a lot of verbiage in there, but that's what the whole is called. And so, we'll just, like high school sports is it's undercovered like across the nation. And so, Austin is doing.
But folks like Flex ATX and Little Eagle Sports Broadcast, Lions Pride Sports Broadcast, they're all trying to change that. I know that Rodney, when I had him on already, he mentioned that. And then a big theme we've noticed here today, and I'm sure you can attest to it too, Snoop, is community. We've been, this has all been about community. It's, in our case, we brought in a brand new athletic director / head coach. His name is Nate Langford. He comes to us from Seguin High School. He was there for the last 4 seasons as a defensive coordinator. And one thing that turned around really quick when he got here, Snoop, is the community aspect, because he got involved right away with community. And, he says, I'm going to jump in feet first. I want to meet everybody I can. I want to see everybody I can, let's get this thing going. Let's get it turned in the right direction. Because in case you're not aware, I'm not sure if I mentioned to you last year when I talked to you, then we hadn't won a game in 2 seasons, but we didn't win a game last season either. So it's been 3 seasons now since we've won a game here in Luling. So we just want to settle. And he even mentioned, I interviewed him back in June, right before our Watermelon Thump Festival that we have here. And he said, he mentioned about back in the day when the Spurs had their race for safes or whatever they were trying to do. And now he just said, we're just trying to win 1 game. If we can win 1 game, then, we'll go from there, and we'll we'll build on that. So definitely. Snoop, can you mention a little bit about your show that you have? I definitely don't want to have you on here and not miss mentioning, your opportunity there to promote your show that you have every week on the Horn.
Yeah, well, it's Thursday nights for now, but only for the next 2 weeks, because once the season starts, I'll be going to games on Thursday night, and then we'll have our broadcast on Friday, pre and post game for the Lake Travis broadcast on 104.9. But Flex ATX on Thursday nights, we interview a host of kids from all sports, from soccer and baseball, hoops, football, of course, and now. Well, I think we're going backwards with the COVID. I think we're in stage 5 now.
Yeah, right. We are.
We've been having kids in, but it's, I don't know. I'm so
right,
I'm
Snoop.
so like,
I think we're all in that same boat. We don't know what to think anymore.
But lately we've been having kids in, and we had Lake Travis football, Bo Edmondson, Lake Travis's new QB1, and teammates there. Vandergrift volleyball, the reigning 25-6A district champions. So yeah, we just giving the kids a platform, really.
Yes, sir.
Work does this stuff.
That's what this is all about. That's what we're all here for, Snoop. And I just say you do a good job, because I've seen you, I follow you on social media, and I see you where you get up early mornings. I saw your, I had to say, I don't think I was going to tweet this to you, but I'm going to just tell you, since you're right here with me now, that breakfast of champions, you had that McDonald's breakfast. I was digging that the other day. So, anyway, but hey, I asked you last year about, how, and then I mentioned a while ago about getting to start with Flex ATX. But I don't think I asked you, and I want to ask you now. You do appear on Fox 7 every Friday. You have your you call it a hit at 9:40 or thereabouts every Friday morning. How did you get started with that? With those folks? I mean, my favorite station in Austin. I mean, I have to say, a close second being KView there, but definitely Fox 7 has been my first. I've been watching it for years and years and years. So can you talk a little bit about how you got started with them and got going with them?
Well, Fox 7 really, what up? We got
yeah, that's Mr. Brad Wright is one of my colleagues here.
Brad. Well, like Fox they kind of like remember like back in the day when cable was a little more standard, and if you could get one channel, you could get Fox. Like it was channel 2 or channel 7 or whatever it was. For some reason, everybody could get Fox. So anyway, it's a blessing. But actually, like I started on there doing, there was a television show called Empire. On Fox, and I actually worked at a hip hop station, and they bought me in to do updates on that show. And I was like, I guess I had like good chemistry with the host, and they're like, and the show got canceled, so they're like, how do we continue to bring you on? I'm like, well, I can talk about high school sports, and they're like, okay, cool, do that. So just to kind of keep me around, I just found something for me to do, and I've done a decent job on it, and consistently, like getting somebody to agree to be on every day at a certain time. Like they have to have the schedule open, and you have to be consistent. So I think just making myself available again, just for opportunity and cashing in on it, and that's really
sir, for sure. I have to say I'm jealous of you, because I think still on your Facebook page, I think I've seen your picture with, of course, she's gone now, Jacqueline Sarkeesian. Of course, Jane Lonsdale's still there, Amanda Salinas, and all these late Chelsea Andrews. And I'm jealous of you.
Tierra Newbaum. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right. So, so like I said, definitely my station has been going on to for years and years and years. So, and Snoop, can you give us a little bit of a preview? Like, I know you do a lot of the bigger schools, but what are we looking at as far as like maybe Westlake and Lake Travis, maybe those two in particular, as far as, you mentioned earlier how Lake Travis has always been, kind of dominant program, and we're trying to get it here where we, I mentioned about community and these coaches getting involved with community, so we can start early and then kind of maybe build up Luling High School into the program that Westlake and Lake Travis is. So what are you looking for as far as out of maybe those two teams in particular, and maybe even some maybe sleeper teams that maybe not people know about in those higher classifications?
Well, I gotta say, I know it's boring, but Lake Travis and Westlake are always the favorites, and they're going to be the favorites again. Westlake has Coach Todd Dodge, who announced he's going to retire after this year. This is basically like a parade. He has the #1 quarterback in the nation, and Cade Klubnik, who's a Clemson commit, and I thoroughly expect them to challenge to go to state again. I hope that they go D2 so Lake Travis can go Division I. Lake Travis got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs last year for the first time since 2012. And so they got a bad taste in their mouth, and they got a lot of talent, including Caleb Burton, who was formerly ranked the #1 wide receiver in the nation, who transferred over from Del Valley after his dad was let go as the head coach. They were looking for somewhere to go.
Right.
I mean, #1
was far to go, right? Yeah.
Ohio State bound. I mean, just, I thought he might go up to Columbus, but he's going to play his last year of high school. So as far as a sleeper, man, I probably won't say this anywhere else, man. I think it could potentially be a down year for the Austin area. The class of 21 had so much top tier talent and in chunks. So I think last year, I mean, you saw it with Cedar Park making the state of 5A state finals. You saw LBJ go to the semifinals. You saw Liberty Hill go to the state quarterfinals. I mean, we were all mobbing, but I really feel a lot of that talent is now on college campuses now. And, I'm hoping not, but I mean, and I won't say this anywhere else. I think it could be a down year for Austin area high school. Also.
And it's sad to hear that, but that's very possible. And it kind of leads me into my next question, Stu. Matter of fact, because you just saw Brad go by. This is his copy of Dave Campbell's Texas football. Unfortunately, I tried to call a couple of times on y'all's contest and didn't get through. So yeah, exactly. So what I wanted to mention to you, because you mentioning what you just did there is the one thing I mentioned when I had Rodney on earlier. There was one thing that Luling and Lockhart and Gonzalez all had in common, and for this season, and that's what we're all picked dead last in this here publication. And so, I mean, so not only for, like you mentioned, the Austin schools might be a down year, but the south of Austin schools look like it might be a down year too.
Yeah.
But I mean, but like I told you in our case, we're not really expecting a lot. We have a new coach, and we're not expecting miracles in year one. But but at the same time, it would be nice to win a game or two, and then hey, we got something to build on. And I'm sure that Lockhart and Gonzalez, it's the same kind of thing. They're probably looking to build on whatever they can. I know that Coach Michael Waldy is in Gonzalez now. He used to be here in Luling. And we communicate with him quite a bit, and he said, it's going to be a struggle, but yet, we're going to fight. We're going to fight, and as long as that's all you can ask at the end of the day is the kids to fight, and do the best, give their best effort, and what happens. So basically, well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I guess just again remind everybody where they can find you, and I don't think there's any other question. No, but let me ask you this, Snoop. You cover, other than football, you cover like some other sports. Can you talk a little bit? You mentioned volleyball earlier, but what's the plans for Flex ATX as far as covering like some of the other sports getting on into the school year?
Well, football definitely dominates our fall. We try to give volleyball some love, but again, like football is Texas, so it takes up most of our attention. And really, like I'm almost like dreading the workload that's coming because it's schools, and I really enjoy it. But man, you get tired. I mean, like by the time you reach week 6, you've played maybe 3 district games, and you're like, oh Lord, I still have another 5 weeks of regular season and then the playoffs. So, and every year, like I hit a wall, but you have to fight through it. I mean, yes, but after football, we really galvanize because I think we feel less stressed on doing the football, and then we can just spread our wings and do girls and boys basketball to start off in January, and then head on into soccer, which lasts seemingly the whole semester, and then dabble off into baseball and softball. So it's a lot of fun, and I think it's fun for us because it's just less stress, than covering football, and so we just have fun with it, and it's
for sure. That's what we do it for. So we don't do it because I know Rodney mentioned that when I said, do you do it for the money? It's like, what are you kidding me? We don't do it. What money? Do we get money? I know I've heard you mention several times, and I listen to you guys all the time when I'm doing my quote unquote real job. And I hear you mention about, oh yeah, I got paid today, or and a day or two later on, I'm running broke.
Yeah, I'm broke. Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, so let me ask you, speaking of that, I didn't want to leave you today and not ask you this particular question. You mentioned him earlier. What's it been like working with the legend like Craig Way there at the Horn?
Well, And there's I couldn't think of anyone else higher on the hierarchy with Texas high school sports that I could work with. I mean, I don't know, maybe like a Greg Tepper because he's the current managing editor of Dave Campbell's football, but even I think Craig is even a notch above him. So again, like it's unbelievable. It's mentorship that I never thought would be possible. And it holds me accountable. As great and as detailed of a character as he is. I work really hard. Sometimes I might falter on the details. So it's really sharpening parts of my game that need to be. And it's like working. I'm a Ninja Turtle and he's Master Splinter.
That's a good comparison there, Steve.
And I will like Angela, the most ditzy of the turtles.
Yes, sir. Again, remind everybody where they can find you, so that way, if they're looking for you. Of course, I mentioned Fox 7, your weekly hits there, but just where they can find you, as far as the Horn and that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, on 104.9 The Horn, at The Horn ATX on Instagram and Twitter, the Horn app and hornfm.com. That's Monday through Friday with Craig Way and Jeff Howell, Light the Tower. Flex ATX at FLX ATX. Misspelled, but it's for the kids.
No, it's for the kids. You're right. Exactly.
And,
it's not about us, it's about the kids. So exactly.
Yeah.
So Snoop, Daniel, again with Flex ATX. I don't want to say FLX, but like you said, it's either one. But
kids call it.
The kids is Flex ATX.
They Flex and call it
The Horn, and he's the producer. For those of you that know, for the Craig Way. It's called Light the Tower. Craig Way and Jeff Howe are on weekday mornings from 10 a.m. to noon. So those of y'all that we mentioned in some of these other interviews I've done so far with Rodney Rodriguez and with Colonel Flowers, Craig Flowers, and Jeff Robb, where you can find them. But again, just a reminder for those of you that do want to check those out, just go definitely check Snoop out. He does really good work. Oh, I didn't want to mention earlier too, when you brought up, about being in week 6 and you being tired and all, you do have a pretty good support staff there. I know with Zach Lucero and Aaron Hogan's son Nolan and a couple of other folks. I mean, so definitely they, I'm sure, provide you a lot of help, getting through that wall like you talked about earlier, right?
Yeah. Sometimes they cost me to have more work. But gosh, those guys, they're young and they're learning.
Yes, sir, for sure. Well, I'm going to let you go, Snoop, but again, I want to thank you so much for coming on. Great, come on, join us. I always like talking high school football, with anybody, especially with experts such as yourself, and then, with the Horn family there. And I want to say too that, you're always, as far as I'm concerned, you always have a place down here if you want to drive that vehicle down south a little bit, about 40 miles here. And we have a really nice stadium. That's where we're at today. It's where I'm at. And so, and maybe I can give you a little peek. I'm gonna try to give you a little peek here, but if you can see that, but
it looks really nice.
Very nice stadium. So we definitely would love to have you down here sometime. You, as far as I'm concerned, you'd be welcome. We have some media spots here for you. So definitely, if you can make it, we'd love to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Snoop, for your time today. I appreciate it, man.
Of course, Eric. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. You take care of yourself, and I'll be keeping up with y'all on there. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.